story is The Man Who Wasn't Father Christmas. So this story is pretty nice. There was this old poor man out in the streets begging for money, like the beggar with on his way home on our other story. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go check that video out. And on this story, the old man was begging for money, and he heard on the shop, he said, wanted a man with long white beard to dress up as Santa Claus and give out people leaflets. So the old man took the job because he actually loved children and he wanted to give them like presents and sweets every day. He got the job and he put all he got the bag. He asked the shop owner if could I give out the children gifts, and the shop owner said no, the bag is full of leaflets. And the old man looked sad because he wanted to give the children gifts and stuff. He came out and handed out the leaflets, and all the children looked in awe and saw that there was a guy giving out the stuff to people with a huge sack on his back and looked like Santa Claus. And the children came over and asked him if they could get a gift, but the old man actually just gave them a leaflet because there wasn't actually any gift. But then the next day, one night, where everybody was asleep and the shops are closed, he was still outside in the Santa Claus suit. But then he heard the sounds of bells, and those bells were sleigh bells. They sounded like sleigh bells, and there was a sleigh dashing across the snow, but he with reindeer at front of it. But he couldn't see the driver because it went so fast. It came around and came back down. It came down onto the floor, and there was a guy, and he saw the person who was in it, and he couldn't believe his eyes. It was the real Santa Claus, and I bet you guys already knew that. And Santa Claus walked over to him and said, could you hold my sack for a minute? I need to give out these presents. I need to get some tea. I haven't eaten or drank in a long time. So the old man said yes, of course, because he liked children and he wanted to give out presents to them. And Santa Claus went into the tea shop, and the old man got the sack. Santa Claus told him to come back in 1 hour. So he drove the sleigh. He stopped by all the children that came up to him, and he gave them presents. And the children said, I wanted like a doll, I want a train, I want a book. And the old man let them reach into his sack, and they got exactly what they wanted. So it's a magic sack, so yeah. And they got exactly what they wanted, and the children went away happily, and the old man stopped by every child he saw, and then Santa Claus came back, and he was just laughing because he saw that he gave all the children presents, and he took the sack and went away. And then the next day, the guy hung up stockings because the next day was Christmas. And then he hung up the stockings, and the stockings were full to the rim with stuff. And there was one specific present. It was a purse full of pennies, and it was never ending. If you take a penny out, it's still in there. If you take a penny out, it's still in there. If you take all the pennies out, all of them are still in there. So it was really nice. It was a magic purse. And then he saw an indent in the front. It was a silver indent, and it said FC. And I bet you guys can guess what that stands for. And it stands for Father Christmas. On to the next story. Alright guys, so now is the next story, A Christmas Wish. And by the way, we're on page 178. Very nice. There was a boy named Sam, and he was with his mother and his 4 brothers and his 4 sisters. And he was the oldest out of all of them. And all of the brothers and sisters were all young. And his mother and they were poor. Their house was built fully out of wood. Sam wanted to give his siblings some presents because one day, on like the day before Christmas Eve, the 23rd of December, they went by a brightly lit shop, and they saw a lot of stuff outside the window. They saw like a toy train, a toy doll, a toy stuff, okay? And Sam thought, if I buy all these stuff for my siblings, they could maybe have lots of fun, and maybe I could also buy a turkey, a turkey for dinner, turkey for Christmas dinner, and he wanted to buy all his siblings that stuff, and he wanted to buy his mother a red scarf. One day went out in the snow, just like a little carol singer, just like grandfather. This is Sam though. He went out in the snow and he heard bells, just like the last story, and it was sleigh bells, just like the last story, and a hat. You know those. I'm not gonna say the word because you know those hats okay, it's just a hat. Okay, it's a hat, and the hat fell down from the sky, and he thought that whoever dropped this might come back, so he just waited a long time, freezing cold in the snow, and nobody came back, so he just picked up a cap, put it in his pocket, and went all the way home. And when they went home, by the way, his shoes, his boots, they had like holes at the bottom of them, so yeah, it was really hard, and all the snow was going in, and his feet were really cold, like they felt like lumps of ice and stuff, and he was having a really bad time. And when he came back in, his mother was looking at him, and she said, "Oh my gosh, look at you! You're so wet, and your feet are so wet." So she dried him off, and he said, and Sam said, "I wished I had a new pair. I wished I had a new pair of boots." And then straight away, somehow, magic, new pair of boots. The old pair of boots flew out of the door, and new pair of boots came back in. So, and then Sam and his mother couldn't believe their eyes. She rubbed her eyes, and also Sam also rubbed his eyes, and they looked again, and they were still there. So the boots were magic, and they came back. So, and then Sam said, "Mother, I wish you had a new pair of boots too," said Sam. And then straight away, another pair of boots flew in right next to the other pair of boots that Sam wished for, and they came in and stood right next to them. And his mother rubbed her eyes again, and they looked at it, and it was still there. So, and then his mother said, "Have you been talking to pixies lately?" And Sam said no. He said, "This must be a magic wishing cap." But then Sam realized that it was that he got a cap that fell from the sky, and he showed it to his mom because he had it in his coat pocket, and he showed it to his mom and explained everything about how he waited there and nobody came back, and it just flew down from the sky, and so he took it home, and his mother said, "It must be a magical wishing cap. But if it's a magical wishing cap, the owner of it must be looking for it everywhere." So Sam's mother said that you should wish for the person the owner of this hat to come here. And Sam knew his mother was right, so he did just that. And straight away, Santa Claus was standing right in front of them, and Sam couldn't believe his eyes, but Santa Claus was looking at them, very confused. But then after he looked at the wishing cap, then he realized exactly what happened, and he gave a loud laugh, which made all the children wake up and come running down the stairs and see Santa Claus right in front of their faces, and they were super excited and really confused. And Santa gave everybody stockings, and then he said, "Well, thank you for finding my hat, and I must be going now. I wish you a Merry Christmas." And Santa said, "This is my wishing hat, and I use it because if my bag gets empty, I just wish for more toys and it gets full again. So that's why Santa needs a wishing hat." And so Santa gives everybody stockings, and he said he took his hat, and he said, "I must be going now." So he went away in his sleigh. The next day, Sam's siblings and his mother's and his stockings were full to the rim, and they were filled up very much, and there was a Christmas tree, and there were lots of presents under the Christmas tree. And when Sam's mother came downstairs, she was very, very confused and excited at the same time, because there was a whole table filled with turkey and foods and pudding and lots of other stuff that's like food for Christmas Day. And they were really happy, and Sam's mother said, "We really are the most luckiest family in the world, aren't we?" So that's all that we're going to be reading today. So if you guys like this video, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell, and give me a huge thumbs up. Bye!